Alrighty then. So this is a discussion about a vaccination mandate. So I'm going to read the question out for the video. Should the United States impose a vaccination mandate on all citizens to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic? Restrict your conversation to the appropriateness of such a mandate along political lines. Do not get bogged down in practical considerations, stuff like that. Alright, so what do you think?
I personally believe that we should not have a COVID-19 mandate or vaccination mandate. Now, there's a couple reasons for that. First and foremost, I believe in freedom of choice. I mean, our country was founded on the belief of freedom of choice, chiefly religion, but I believe that that extends to this. A lot of people on the right have been making the comparison to the My Body, My Choice movement, and I don't believe that that is an appropriate comparison, but I do believe that you have the right to choose what goes into your body, even if that allows you to put yourself at higher risk for death. But we allow people to drink, we allow people to smoke. I mean, we may have raised the legal age to buy tobacco products to 21, but that's not really stopping anyone from purchasing this product, even though it's been proven to give you cancer. It kills hundreds of thousands of people a year.
Interesting. I'm obviously of the opinion that there should be a vaccination mandate. I think it's interesting you brought up smoking cigarettes and alcohol and how it's a personal choice, how people like partake in it willingly. I think the difference is that only affects one person. It's their choice to drink, to give themselves cancer when they smoke. Smoking only really became serious when the idea of secondhand smoke came up. Where it actually could affect other people.
See, it's funny that
that's why it's been somewhat regulated. Not really.
It's funny that you brought up secondhand smoke, because I was going to bring up secondhand smoke
as
a way to show that individual choices don't just affect the individual, they affect what's around you.
Right. Now, you could bring that up as an argument to say that, secondhand smoke exists, and yet they still allow people to make these decisions. I could argue that that's simply wrong and that should not be the case, and that, if you're going to, criminalize stuff like marijuana, then you might as well criminalize stuff like tobacco. But whatever, we're getting off topic.
It's still a off topic,
So I think the main difference between the COVID-19 vaccine mandate and then obviously allowing people to buy cigarettes is that it affects one person mainly when they choose to do that. The vaccine, on the other hand, diminishes the spread of a virus that can affect a lot of people, and some people are more susceptible to it than others. But it's vital that we get this under control, and the vaccine is a way to do that.
Okay, so even if this vaccine mandate were to go in place, the people who are allergic to ingredients in it, there have been proven to be bad reactions to the COVID-19 vaccine. I mean, it's not even, only one of the three vaccines, or the three major ones, has been approved by the FDA. And I think that until all of them are approved by the FDA, that we shouldn't have a COVID-19 mandate for the vaccination.
I'm inclined to agree with that. I think that it should be verifiable, like this is scientifically proven and certified to, to be the right thing to do, to the most effective way of diminishing the spread of this virus. But I also think that there already is sufficient evidence, that there's already countless health experts that agree that this vaccine is necessary, that choosing not to get it does nothing. It helps nobody, and that even if it weren't in the form of a mandate by the government, people should at least have the liberty to choose whether or not they want to serve somebody that's vaccinated or that's not vaccinated. Do you know what I mean? Because it's their choice not to get the vaccine.
I agree that if your business requires you to have a vaccine to enter, then yeah, that's the personal business owner's decision. If I need to have a vaccine passport by the business, then yes, I 100% agree with that. But I don't believe that the government needs to have the reach that it does. Like, I don't believe that the government needs to be telling us everything that we need to do. I think that guidelines should exist. I think that the CDC has been very good about that by publishing these guidelines. Like, I believe they've updated them at least every month since the outbreak of the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we should be considered smart enough as American citizens to decide if this is the right decision or not.
I think that when it affects more people than just yourself, when it comes down to containing something that's already costs over 500,000 lives, already over 500,000 people, and probably more than that now. I don't know what the numbers are at this point, but ridiculous numbers of people are dying from this thing. And the vaccine is an effective way of getting it under control.
It was an effective way of getting it under control.
It still is.
Until
the Delta variant, this vaccine still gives people a resistance to catching it. So you can still catch it, but you're much more resistant to it, and also you don't spread it as much.
Well, a case in point, we can look at our own household. I mean, all four of us have been vaccinated for a couple months now, and all four of us came down
Caught it.
COVID.
That's true.
And
look, it's not impossible to catch it when you're vaccinated.
That's true,
but one of us happened to catch it. We live in the same household. We didn't necessarily take, extreme measures to isolate from one another because we live in the same house. So it was almost inevitable that you guys would catch it. You're not immune to it. You're simply resistant to it.
But I feel like I should have the decision to decide if I want to be resistant to it or not. I'm kind of grasping.
No, but it also diminishes. It also makes it less likely for you to spread it to other people too. So that's kind of the key thing we're getting at here: is that if everybody were vaccinated, we wouldn't have this problem. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get what you're saying, but another point that I've thought of is when you look at certain vaccination mandates, such as the flu vaccine for healthcare workers. Hep A, Hep B for frontline workers like first responders, healthcare again. You look at them, they're really targeted at the people who are the most likely to come in contact with said disease. Now, am I saying that we're not going to have an increased chance of exposure just in our day-to-day lives? We are, with how contagious this virus is, but we're not like the healthcare or the frontline workers who every day are dealing with like random strangers, numerous people. If you're in healthcare, you're working with people who are sick or injured, who already have compromised immune systems. So you need to make sure that if you're a healthcare worker, you're not spreading that to them. And I think that there should not be a broad vaccine mandate for everyone in the U.S. I think that we should stick with how we currently run things.
I would agree with that but it assumes that people don't, congregate en masse regularly, like on the weekly, and people do, and people who choose not to get vaccinated, not only are they more likely to get it and thus spread it to, their friends and family, but also they're more likely to spread it to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're also discounting those of us in the general population who were just naturally immune. Because, while it is rare, there are people who just ended up being immune to the virus.
Right, now there can be genetic immunities to the virus, but it's still, I don't know what percentage of the population they make up, but it's probably minimal. So, I mean, it wouldn't apply to people to people that have a genetic immunity. It would just apply to the average person. And you gotta imagine, say there's the bar is really stacked down on Friday night. If 100% of the people in there were vaccinated, the chances that any of them would have COVID and spread it around is minimal, because not only are they vaccinated, so they spread it less. but other people are vaccinated so they get it less.
But
So it can still happen.
I still think
but the spread super.
I still think it's
reduced.
government overreach.
Is it?
For us to require everyone to get it. Now,
would
I agree if say the pickle decided to require proof of vaccine to enter? I'd be fine with that. It's a business owner's choice to do that. And if he doesn't want unvaccinated people in his establishment, he won't have unvaccinated people in his establishment. I don't believe that the government needs to baby us because that's basically what they would do. They'd be coddling the American population.
I agree with that. I also think that the government exists for a reason, and I'm not going to say the government's perfect, which it certainly isn't. But it does exist for a reason, and employs the best health professionals on the planet, and they all agree that this needs to get put under control. We see the lives that it's cost as a statistic at this point because we don't have any real personal relation or connection to it, so we can't empathize, we don't understand. But in reality, like I said, over 500,000 people, to my knowledge, have died to this thing already, and we just don't seem to care. So something like this is for the betterment of everybody. When your decisions cause harm to others, they have to be regulated. It's the only way.
Okay.
Yeah, so this kind of gets into what we were talking about in terms of this idea, this idea of like this concept in our class, or in the course we've been discussing so far, is tolerance and kind of what it means. And usually it involves some form of intent to preserve a greater good, or what is believed to be a greater good. So in this case, say you're expressing your opinion, you don't believe that there should be a COVID vaccine mandate. I think that you're fully within your right to be able to do that, and I tolerate that because I believe that it's good for preserving people's right to free speech and freedom to express themselves, and I think it's necessary as long as it doesn't directly harm others. Now, you could argue that this speech is harming others because it's convincing people that they shouldn't get vaccinated. Which
I don't know if it was very convincing.
But I think that that kind of speech should be protected because that is a slippery slope. But the government does have an obligation or a duty to protect its citizens, and this is the way to do it, whether they like it or not. That's kind of the point of living in a government, is you exchange some of your freedoms for security, and if your freedoms endanger the lives of others or infringe upon their rights, we can't have it. That's where I'm at.
All right. I think that about wraps it up.
That's it.